What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is Will here. That is Casino and Zoinks Casino. What a week of NFL football. It is, of course, Halloween. We're recording on Halloween. I don't know if you could tell or not. I'm dressed as Shaggy, so I shaved my beard like this. I'm going more Shaggy from the live action movies than from the TV shows, Casino. Because,
fair.
He had like 3 hairs on his chin in the TV show. I don't know how to replicate that. But the movie, I could replicate a chin strap all day without the straps, I guess, just the chin. But Casino, you once again dominated me this week. I took a lot of swings, and that means a lot of misses. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 10. I only had 6 this week, so your lead on picking games grows ever longer.
That's groovy, baby.
By the way,
I was gonna I don't know. With you calling me out last week about not wearing beanies, I went into my collection, got my football helmet beanie on.
True. I would never wear that beanie, but I respect you for wearing it.
There it is.
And you know what? Shout out to Jeff, who says we only shout him out when we're talking about Mormons because he's a disgraced Mormon. I don't know what they call it.
No.
Where you turn your back on it. So shout out to Jeff, biggest Scooby-Doo fan I know. He'll love this. All he talks about is Scooby-Doo. So no Mormon, no Zach Wilson, no BYU in this conversation. Just
and also,
Scooby-Doo.
Whenever you ask me about my picks and whatnot, and to elaborate, I'm not going to just say no. Apparently, I say no a lot.
Yeah. Well, that I feel like is more chalked up to you were exhausted. Last episode, we got tired Casino. Now we have tired Casino, but it's noon, so he's more energized. He's eating just mounds and mounds.
Never stop eating. I'm always eating. Look at my dad bod here.
Yeah, and that's just creatine. That's all he's eating right now. He's going to be pumped.
Right.
But
on that note,
let's dive into this week.
Oh, let's dive in.
I can't. My hair, I never wear it like this, so just wet hair on my head might be my number one pet peeve, but I got to do it for the costume, Casino. I got to do it for the gram, as the kids say.
AKA the wife.
Yeah. Well, my idea, before we dive into the games, we were dressed, me, my wife, my young 1-year-old. My 10-year-old is with his mom this Halloween and just said he doesn't want to trick or treat with us because he trick or treats with me every year. This year, he just wants his mom, which
That's
fine.
Weird. That's weird. What a mystery.
I don't know. Mystery. Maybe I can solve it. Where's Velma? But we also, side note to my side note, there is a new movie on HBO Max called Scooby-Doo Meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's a crossover I didn't know I needed. It's actually really good. And I was like, put it on last night to watch with my 1-year-old. He immediately lost interest in it. Me, I was dialed and locked in. Great movie. Watch it on HBO Max. Also, it's a real tight, like hour and 10 minutes. So you're not wasting your time.
Dog, man.
It's great. It's great. It's great. Check it out. It's on HBO Max.
All
but
right.
I say that to say this. Me, my wife, and child went to the Halloween store, right? And we were like, whatever, the 10-year-old is doing his own thing. He wants to be something that we can't do, like a family costume around. Fine, he's independent, whatever. So 1-year-old, we're like, whatever he picks out, we'll build our costumes around that. Right. So, of course, we go in. He picks like some random fucking dinosaur. And we're like, what the fuck are we going to do here? Maybe we're thinking Jurassic World because my wife's a redhead. Maybe she could be the Bryce Dallas Howard character. I could be, Chris Pratt, whatever. So then we're walking around the store. Kid sees Scooby-Doo, loses his mind, goes Scooby-Doo. We're like, perfect. Wife's a redhead. She can be Daphne. I will be Fred. Apparently, Casino, the most popular Halloween costume that has ever existed is fucking Fred from Scooby-Doo. Sold out at this store, sold out every single Party City what is it? The Halloween store. The Spirit Halloween sold out of all those in the entire state. So I have to go as Shaggy. She's going as Daphne. My child's going as Scooby-Doo. So that's why I'm dressed like this. This is not my normal attire, and I hate just this little part. But now that that's out of the way, Casino, I feel like we have to stop saying let's get to a crazy week in the NFL, because it just seems like crazy weeks are just now the standard. So if it was a normal week, I feel like that would be more weird than just weird, like these weird weeks we're having. So just before we dive into the games, any like main takeaways from week 8 as a whole?
No, that's just for Jeff. No, but I'm thinking of you, buddy. I'm thinking of you, buddy. It's starting to separate a little bit more on which teams we thought could have some fight and come back, and which teams are actually good. So
when you look at to harp on that, when you look at the NFL standings for each division, I feel like it's almost like we have the entire playoff picture, like pretty much, right?
That's kind of where I'm getting at, is you know which teams and where everybody stands.
Yeah, it is. So out of the AFC, we basically have the Bills. I guess Chargers could make a run at it, but I think the Chiefs are just so much better than everyone in their division at this point. I think they run away with it. So we have Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals. We'll see how the Bengals, we're recording this Monday morning. We'll see how the Bengals fare tonight in their Monday night game. And then AFC South, it's Titans with a 2.5 game lead. So we have Titans, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, and then it seems like the 3 wildcard spots could be what? Bengals, Chargers, and then Jets and Dolphins, with Patriots fighting it out for the last spot, right? Like, yeah. So the AFC, I guess, is a little more wide open, but the NFC, I feel like it's almost like set in stone in the NFC. It is.
Yeah, you got some of the heavier hitters over on that side, where the good teams in the NFC are the good teams. AFC, we've talked about, it's going to be a little more competitive. Obviously, though, the NFC East is the best division in football,
which everybody called before the season. Right? Everybody called that. But in the NFC, we have Falcons, Buccaneers, Saints in that weird NFC South. We have Vikings 3-game lead on everybody in that division, which is shocking because the Packers are in second. We have the Seahawks 49ers fighting it out on top, like everyone predicted. And then, like you just said, we have Eagles undefeated 7-0, Cowboys Giants 6-2. Yeah, where do we? I feel like it's wrapped up with maybe just seeding in question now. Like,
that's pretty fair.
But let's start with game number 1 of the week. I know you woke up at 6 a.m. to watch it, Casino. Watched every snap of it. 100%. Broncos technically at Jaguars, but this game took place. Is this one in Germany, London? It doesn't matter. Same thing we predicted from both these teams. Same old Broncos team scoring a measly.
It was in London, by the way.
It was in London? All right. Yeah. This high-powered Broncos offense scoring a measly 21 points against this just free-falling Jaguars team scoring 17. What do we make of this game, Casino? Is this
your Super Bowl picks back? They're back, baby.
I had not realized the Denver Broncos had lost the last 3 games, and now they are righting the ship, apparently, with Russell Wilson doing his weird, dumb pre-game antics.
I literally just put my phone down and walked out of the room. Left my phone. I don't ever leave rooms with my phone. Without my phone. I put it down. I was like, I'm done.
For people who did not see that pre-game video, please describe it to them, Casino. What is Russell Wilson doing?
Nothing. He's standing there holding a football with headphones on, just going.
And then he
those viewers that can't see what I'm doing, I'm just shrugging my shoulders and looking around like, yeah.
And then he like
I'm
does
Russ.
this weird like pose where he's in the middle of the football field, like he's like soaking it all in. Of course, he only does this because there's 15 cameras pointed at him. And interesting, we'll get to the Seahawks Falcons game, maybe the best game of the week. But we'll get to the Seahawks Falcon game. But I can't remember who said it after the game, but he said that it's nice.
The which game?
The Seahawks Falcons game.
Falcons Carolina were.
Oh, sorry. The Seahawks Giants game. But after the Seahawks won, it was, I think, maybe Tyler Lockett or like somebody who was on those Russell Wilson teams where he said it's nice to win a game when not one person just takes all the credit for it. Like all these former Seahawks guys just taking shot after shot that aren't even like vague shots. They're like red dot on the forehead sniper shots just at Russell Wilson. I think most people who play with this guy fucking hate him. I don't see it. Like, who has come out in his defense? Who?
Nobody.
Nobody. And it doesn't seem like his Broncos team like him. There was, I think, that Thursday night game a couple weeks ago where he like threw an interception or they did something bad. And then he's walking up and down the sidelines, like clapping and like pointing at guys. And that one guy in the bench just like rolls his eyes. And it's just, that's just how I feel like the entire nation feels when they're watching a Broncos game.
That's fair.
King cringe, danger, witch, king cringe. But as far as the Jaguars go,
he wasn't even that good. He was 18 for 30. He had one touchdown, one interception. He really wasn't that good.
Well, and then what is going on with this Broncos rushing situation? It's like Latavius Murray is getting more carries. Melvin Gordon was this big acquisition from the Chargers, and he like came out, I believe, last week or the week before and said he wanted more touches, and he felt like he was being disrespected. And then they were like, okay. And then he came out, kind of had a good game last week, and then this week they only give him 9 carries. He gets 21 yards and a touchdown. But I don't know what to, obviously the Broncos defense is the talking point with this team that nobody talks about because Russell Wilson is so annoying.
It's the only thing.
But Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, they have good pieces on offense. It's just, why are they not generating more offense?
You've already hit the nail on the head. We talked about Russell Wilson, man. He's not there. He's not present.
No. And they are averaging 108 yards per rush a game, which is like a league. I want to say like bottom third of the leagues.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. I mean, Latavius Murray, 14 attempts for 46 yards. Yeah.
Their passing is 220 a game, which is obviously the bottom half of the league. Their offense overall ranks 23rd. But again, the story of this team is the defense, which is ranked 2nd in the league. Like, they have a great defense, but this is how they're going to have to win games. They literally can score 2 touchdowns and a field goal or 3 touchdowns and win the game because the other team isn't scoring. But I'm just glad this game technically wasn't on prime time, even though it kind of was on prime time because it was alone. But I don't think anybody's waking up early to watch a Broncos Jaguars game. But
again, why is there so many Broncos like prime time games?
Dude, I fell for the hype. I picked this Broncos team to go to the Super Bowl. Now I don't even think they make the playoffs. They're the 15th best team in the AFC.
They won't.
No. Well, they got to beat everybody in the AFC East to that spot. Maybe a team coming out of their own division, right? The Chargers, the Raiders are dead. But yeah, I don't think this team, I don't even think they sniff the playoffs. It's just going to be cringy 8-9 maybe is a best case scenario. Let's move on to the next game. Dolphins, Lions. Dolphins with Tua back. Comeback victory. I believe it was 21-7 at one point. They come back 31-7. Tua Tagovailoa, 29 for 36, 382, 3 touchdowns. The best wide receiver duo in the league, both netting over 100 yards. Tyreek Hill, almost 200, 12 receptions, 188. Jalen Waddle, 8 for 106 and 2 touchdowns.
Waddle didn't do bad either, though.
Dude, I mean,
Waddle was the red zone guy. He had the 2 TDs there.
I can't think, especially now with Jamar Chase out for the Bengals, I can't think of a better wide receiver duo in the league. Like Waddle and Hill, they just
no.
They look like they're lighting it up.
They have a feel for each other, and that's, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's the best quarterback or he's the best receiver. When you just have a connection with a receiver and you can just throw it to wherever, and they catch it, like that's what it was for years with Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I mean, again, not just trying to go back to my team, it's just I can relate a little bit more with that. But Brady, he could throw it to Gronk or Edelman because he knew they were going to catch it. And he knew their routes. He knew when they were going to cut. Yes, it was a very more, you know, systematic thing, but these guys, Tua and Hill, they just know what's going on.
All right, sorry, that was my son. I'll cut that out. Just go start with what you were saying again, Casino.
Tua and Hill, good combo.
Now I'm not cutting it out, but
that was the plan.
I think I just feel bad for Detroit. They have such an explosive, fun offense to watch. They're scoring points on teams like Jared Goff. I don't want to say he's having a resurgence, but I feel like there was a lot of people doubting him when he came up so short in that Super Bowl against your Patriots. But since he's been in Detroit, he's looked good. Like when you give him time to throw, he can pick you apart, and they just don't really have any weapons. They just don't. Obviously, their defense is, I believe, still worst in the league. If I can check right now, if not, yeah, they're still the 32nd defense in the league. So they basically just have to outscore people, and they could if they maybe. We've talked about this multiple weeks. If they had an average defense, they would maybe be 4-3 right now, 3-4, at least within the hunt. Like, but that defense is just can give. I mean, you're giving up 3 touchdown lead against Tua. You know, Tua's an average NFL quarterback. I don't think anybody would say he's elite, but
no, they have a connection.
Yeah. They and Jared Goff again didn't play bad. 27 out of 37, 325, 1 touchdown. Jamal Williams had 2 rushing touchdowns, but again, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, they have TJ Hawkinson, and that's kind of it. But it's still I would say they're an elite offense because it's been multiple weeks where they just put up points. They move the ball with ease. And yeah, defense. But as far as the Dolphins go, Casino, they are now 5-3. What do you think the Dolphins' outlook for the rest of the season is? Do you think wild card? Do you think deep run in the playoffs, one and done?
I think wild card, and then they'll win the wild card. Probably they'll win their wild card matchup. After that, though, I don't think. I mean, those better teams later on, when they get later on in the season, getting into the playoffs, those teams are going to have better defenses than some teams. And I'm not saying that they're playing bad defensive teams. I don't know who they played with defensive wise, but pretty much if you just double team Hill. If you double team Hill, yes, it makes a one-on-one with Waddle, but I think Miami is good, but I think if you take away his number one weapon, he's going to struggle a little bit more. Not saying that they're going to get blown out, but that's kind of where I would put them is the wild card. They win their wild card matchup, and then first round of the divisional round, they're gonna lose to whoever they play, just because I'm sure that defensive scheme is going to pretty much come out and take care of. Obviously, I don't know who they're going to be playing or if they're even going to make it, but that's where I could see this happening.
Well, that's the thing I was going to bring up. So obviously, Bills are most likely probably all money favorite bet to get the bye week, right? In the playoffs, everybody will have to go through Buffalo. So that means Miami would probably have to play Chiefs, Ravens, Titans, or maybe like Bengals if they swap with the Ravens in that AFC
Right.
North. So I could definitely see this Miami team going and beating maybe all those teams except Kansas City. Like I could see the Dolphins beating the Ravens, beating the Bengals, beating the Titans. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
That's fair.
But in terms of like going up to Buffalo, I mean, don't they play? I don't know if it's next week or the week after, but that Dolphins Buffalo game is going to be real interesting just to see how this Miami team stacks
It's going to be telling
against.
for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be hopefully a good game. I think
It's going to be a little while because they've already played the Bills and they beat the Bills that 21-19.
Oh, that's true.
In week 3. They don't play the Bills again until December 17th, and they're playing in Buffalo.
Now that will be interesting because if Miami sweeps them in the season and beats them in Buffalo, then I think we can finally be like, this Miami team's legit. Maybe they do have a shot. You know, if they split or if they beat Buffalo, I mean, it's hard to beat them 3 times in a row, but especially beating them in Buffalo, like, why not? Crazier shit's happened. I mean, the Colts beat the Chiefs a couple weeks ago when everybody was like, there's no way in hell, right? So any given Sunday, that's what they say. But next up, Casino, let's move on to maybe the funnest game this past weekend.
I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
Dude, this was especially, I wrote down the last, I want to say 30 seconds of this game, which all this, or the last 30 seconds in OT.
We're talking about Carolina, Atlanta for those. We kind of skipped that, but I mean,
that's true.
If you watch the sports, you know what game we're talking about.
So the Carolina Panthers now 2-6 lost to the 4-4 Atlanta Falcons in OT 37-34. So this is what happened the last I believe it was with 14 seconds left in the game and then to OT.
Hold on.
This dog's excited. It's getting excited. So 14 seconds left. PJ Walker throws a 70-yard bomb. The ball is in the air for 70 yards to DJ Moore, who is double covered. DJ Moore catches it, takes off his helmet after he scores a touchdown, gets a 15-yard penalty for taking off his helmet on the field. The Falcons maybe do the smartest, which means it's the opposite of what the Falcons usually do, because this is a thing that would happen against the Falcons, and the Falcons reverse their fortune, pull a Falcons on the other team, give the penalty to the extra point, which pushes it back 15 yards, which makes it like a 40-something yard field goal. Panthers kicker misses it. Then they go to OT. Panthers kicker misses a 33-yard field goal again. And then finally, the Falcons kick a field goal with like 2 minutes left at OT to win the game.
But you're also missing to get to that field goal in overtime. Marcus Mariota threw a pick.
Oh, that's true.
And that brought it down. So it was like, oh, so Moore's on the sideline, like, thank you, defense. You saved me. And then the kicker was like, nah, I want to make fun of you, bro.
And then Mariota does a great like 15-yard run to help set up that field goal at the end of overtime. So no, I don't think anybody thought this game would be as fun as it would be, but this was game of the week just in terms of entertainment value and like what the hell is happening. Casino, do you think taking off your helmet should be as severe as a penalty as 15 yards, essentially a unnecessary roughness penalty or a roughing the passer penalty or a taunting penalty, all these 15-yard penalties. Do you think this should be a 15-yard penalty?
I mean, I don't think it should be as in the stadium regards as like roughing and this and that, but I mean, it is still a penalty. Like, yeah, taking off the helmet, I think, is more, especially how he did it, was more, showboating. Because taking off the helmet, who gives a shit? If the play is over and you take off your helmet, you take off your helmet. But like as we saw a few years ago, you take off your helmet and you beat somebody with it. That's assault, brother.
Well,
then,
I think you just
mean-
made a good point about the distinction where it should be one is a celebration and then like one is a taunting, right? Like how like
Yeah.
the difference is running into a kicker versus like roughing the kicker. I feel like there should be a distinction. It more felt like he was just excited he just caught the game winning touchdown.
Yeah, and
Then-
he was out of the back of the end zone, right? Or was he just like at the like towards the back of the end zone? It's like, okay, like he took it off, he's celebrating, he could walk to his sideline, not in the game of play anymore. So I don't get it. But like if you take off your helmet and you're like in somebody's face, or you're going up, you know, if you're going up to like a specific fan and like ha 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 ha, no, he was yelling and just excited in the crowd.
yeah.
I mean, is it a penalty? Yeah, because I mean, you still shouldn't do that. But a separate penalty just for taking off your helmet, that's dumb. I mean, unless you're, I mean, keep that rule in there. But like, if you're taking off your helmet in the middle of a play,
Yeah. Make it 5 yards. He took off his helmet in the end zone, or like on touchdown plays where it's like 5 yards if you're celebrating, and then make it like, but it's 15 yards if you took it off to like taunt, or, you know, like
Right.
something like that.
But with all of that being said, he's still a veteran player and he knows the rules. I mean, whether you like him or hate him or whatever, the rule book is currently the rule book. You're a veteran player. You shouldn't have done that.
well,
know
also when it's to win the
you know
game.
what you did. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, at that point in the game, and you know what? It just on the fact that he's a veteran player, he knows that he shouldn't have done it. You know, I'm not saying I'm happy that they lost, but I'm okay with it. I could justify it. Like you know the rules, man. Like if it was a rookie and like, you know, in college, you know, you get more excited, you have all your students and all that. You're younger, but you're not. You're a veteran player. You know that you're not supposed to do that. It's in the rule book, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. No,
You know,
I agree.
it is dumb.
But the other thing to take away from this game is we'll talk about the 49ers game later, but it is insane to me that the Panthers both feel like a better team since Christian McCaffrey left, and Christian McCaffrey seems like a better player since he left the Panthers. It's like the best split that could possibly happen, where the team you left feels like they're a better team now. They're scoring more points. You know, they should have probably won this game had the weird stuff at the end not happened. But Christian McCaffrey is having like this career resurgence at the 49ers, even though he was still great on the Panthers. So it's this weird split. Panthers are better on offense. They have a great running attack now. Deontay Foreman, 26 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Christian McCaffrey also had 3 touchdowns with the 49ers. So
he looked good, dude.
Win, win, win. They all win. They all win, Casino.
I told you he was going to look good.
I mean, we'll get to that game when we get to it. But as far as the Falcons end of the football, do you think they will win the NFC South, or do you still think it's the Bucks?
Ooh, good question. The better team is the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them be the better team, but maybe not this year.
I mean, arguably the Panthers are the worst team in the league, and Carolina almost lost to him. But I mean, Tampa lost to him, or not? You know what I mean? Atlanta almost lost to him, but Tampa lost to him. I don't know, man. That I would love if the Patriots are in that division because they'd be winning it. I just don't think that, even though I love watching the Falcons, I'm going to root for him. Marcus Mariota is fun to watch. I still think the Bucks will find a way to win the division. It's sloppy, it's gross, but I still think they'll find a way to do it.
I am right there with you. I feel like this Falcons team, like we've said multiple times now, they're fun to watch. We obviously are rooting for Marcus Mariota. Everybody loves Marcus Mariota. I've never heard somebody say they don't like him. He made some bonehead plays in this game, like that INT and OT, but then he redeemed himself by leading them down the field for the game-winning field goal. I don't know. But then again, you can't trust the Buccaneers. How many times have we been like guaranteed the Bucks beat the Steelers, one of the worst teams in the league? Guaranteed they beat the Panthers, one of the worst teams in the league. And then they come out and they just can't score a touchdown, right? This whole year, they just have like left so many touchdowns on the field instead of scoring.
And to touch on that a little bit, it's not so much just Brady's fault. Everybody's like, oh, Brady. Also, when you're in the red zone and your offensive linemen do 2 false starts,
yep,
add on them. You know,
well, and that Mike Evans, remember, drop touchdown last week.
They are shooting themselves in the foot, and it's not all Brady's fault. I'm not trying to stick up for him because Brady has not what he's been.
Married
everybody. Yeah. But for real, it's not just his fault. Like that team, when they get in, they look fine, but when they get into the red zone, their brains shut off on how to play. They get penalized, they drop balls, they get their formations wrong. Something just happens. They just don't click in the red zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's bad, but I still think they'll win that division because I just can't trust the Falcons.
No, well, then it comes down to the NFC South. It's really comes down to who can you trust, and I don't think you can trust any of them. But the one you can trust the most is the Bucks because, like you said, it's led by Tom Brady, right? Like it's like Tom Brady in a division with PJ Walker, Andy Dalton, and Marcus Mariota, and then it's just like one of these things is not like the other. Like it comes down to Brady and can they right that ship? We'll see maybe when they start getting some guys back after a bye week. Who knows? But for right now, Falcons first in that division, which is crazy to say in a division with Tom Brady in week 9 of the season. But we move on, Casino, to a game I thought would go much differently, but was closer than I feel like it should have been. The 3-5 Arizona Cardinals lose to the now 6-1 Minnesota Vikings, 34-26. Kirk Cousins, 24 for 36, 232, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 20 yards, 111 and a touchdown, and then Justin Jefferson 6 for 98. Their triplets, their big three, all having a big game against a Cardinals team that can't seem to right the ship. What do you make of this game, Casino?
It wasn't prime time. No, I mean Vikings are the much better team. Did you pick Arizona to win this one? I don't remember.
I did.
Why?
I thought they would come out guns a-blazing. I thought I thought the coach and Kyler yelling at each other would ignite something. They had DeAndre Hopkins back.
That's right. And that's why I was like, no, not going to happen. It was a closer game than it was pretty much within a touchdown the entire game. So until the very end there. But I'm still a little shocked that you picked them. You tried to pick them. Minnesota is clearly the better team. They are going to win that division, even though I picked beginning the season Rodgers because just Rodgers does that where he's good in the regular season. But Minnesota's going to win that division. Clearly, they're the much better team.
3.5 game lead. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're going to coast. They're going to coast.
Well, and this also, as an Eagles fan, the Vikings make me. I'm scared to play them again, even though we dominated them week 2. That feels like a millennium ago. At this point, they've won every game since pretty convincingly. Like this was in a 1 touchdown game, like you said, the whole game. But I don't feel like there was ever a shot the Cardinals really had to win it. Kyler Murray looked like he was running for his life the whole game. He threw.
Sorry, you say that you're scared of them. I see the 6-1 record. They're a good team, but they're in their division. Packers, Bears, Lions.
Yep.
Those are a lot of wins there, my friend.
Well, also the
So
Vikings offensive is potent, but the Vikings defense, 28th ranked team defense in the league. So you can score on them, you can run on them, you can throw on them. But again, they have such a high powered offense. But how far can you throw Kirk Cousins with that offense? Like you said, all the playoff games are going to be prime time. And we've seen enough data on Kirk Cousins in primetime where I don't trust him at all. All right. So we move from that game to the 3-5 Chicago Bears losing to the now 6-2 Dallas Cowboys, 49-29. The Cowboys offense is rolling with Dak Prescott back. Prescott was 21 for 27, 250, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But I feel like the real story of the game, Tony Pollard taking over for a hurt Ezekiel Elliott, 14 for 131 and 3 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on this game, Casino?
well, we talked about this, about Pollard being better than Zeke.
Yeah, and I think everybody knows that except the Jerry Jones.
Right. Keep talking about this. I gotta let the dog out. Sorry.
All right. So we had at times this Bears offense obviously destroyed the Casino's Patriots team last week, but this week they got within 5 of this Dallas team. And then before they got within 5, we saw Justin Fields complete a pass, wide receiver fumbles it. Justin Fields doesn't touch Micah Parsons, so Micah Parsons gets up, runs it back for a fumble recovery touchdown. What do you make of this Cowboys team, Casino? It feels everybody
the best offense, best defense. They are the best team in the league. They're winning the Super Bowl. The drought's over.
You heard it here first. You heard it
Rodeo,
here first. I think the real talking point coming out of this game is the Chicago team, first off, put 29 on this 1985-esque Dallas Cowboys defense. But more to me, it seems like this is just old hat for the Cowboys, right? They beat the bad teams. They usually destroy the bad teams, which is why pretty much ever since the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they've just had bad to middling to slightly good teams since then, and the Cowboys have always blown them out or beat them in, heartbreaking fashion, like if you're heartbreaking, if you're an Eagles fan, like in that game where the Eagle guy misses the touchdown, goes in for the OT score, the Cowboys do. I feel like this is just old hat for the Cowboys. They beat up the bad teams or the middling teams, and then they lose or get run off the field when they play good teams, right? We saw this week 1 against the Bucks, and the Bucks aren't even a good team now. So I don't know what to make of this Dallas team, Casino.
I mean, I told you that once Dak came back, they were going to put him back in. He looked good, but it was the Pollard show. It wasn't the Dak show. Dak did good. He played a good game. He actually had a really good game.
Yeah.
Was he the reason that they blew out and the score is the way it is? No. Pollard, and then you also have that fumble recovery for a touchdown. There's 21 points right there that was not his.
Well, it's also 28 points because Pollard had 3 touchdowns. Yeah, but
I thought one of them was a toss. I thought one of them was passing to him.
No, it says 3 rushing touchdowns.
Okay, yeah. Well, then there you go.
Yeah, but then also, I feel like everybody on sports talk shows, right? Because not podcasts, because obviously we're the only sports podcasts. There isn't any other ones, but on TV shows and radio, everybody just wants to anoint the Cowboys the best team in the NFC, Super Bowl contenders, blah, blah, blah. They want to anoint them that so fast just because the Cowboys are the most popular team, right? Everybody always talks about the Lakers.
Then they get their ratings in.
Yeah, because people pay attention to the Lakers, people pay attention to the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cowboys, this is what they've been since Dak came into the league. Whether you have Jason Garrett, whether you have Mike McCarthy, they beat up bad teams, they lose in the playoffs, or they play competitively and usually lose against good teams. So this just feels like old hat to me. I don't know why everybody's freaking out about this team.
Because it's the Cowboys. And they're doing it just to sell publicity, man. Everybody wants to talk about the Cowboys. It's just like the Lakers. Even though Lakers, I mean, just a quick on the NBA, they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, they are the worst team in the league
at this
right
moment.
now.
Yeah. They were the last team to
that's
win.
all you're going to hear about, though, the entire season is the Lakers. The Lakers are going to be on every episode of every sports talk show, 100%.
You almost said podcast. Okay.
No, I didn't.
I was, but yeah. So I think on the Bears side of things, I think Justin Fields, I don't know what happened to him, but he's starting to show a little something against this vaunted Dallas defense. He actually played pretty damn good. Like he had no interceptions, 2 touchdowns, 151 yards, but then he also rushed for 60 yards and a touchdown. He's kind of getting into that dual threat quarterback category, you know, with Jalen Hurts, with Lamar Jackson, with Daniel Jones. Obviously, those all fluctuate in terms of like effectiveness, but he looks like a good runner. And now you have to game plan for both his arm and his legs. And I don't know, this Bears team, I don't think they'll do anything because the NFC, as we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, it's kind of already set playoff wise, but they're going to upset some teams this season. They're going to be a hassle to plan for. And when teams, you know, play against, as we saw with your team last week, everybody was picking the Patriots bar none, and then Bears came out and showed something. And this game, they got within 5. It was like a close game till pretty much the fourth quarter. So I don't know, Bears team, maybe next year's sneaky playoff team.
If he can stay consistent, if he can grow more and more. So far, I mean, you just nailed it right there. He's starting to feel a little more comfortable in his dual role that he can actually perform at.
Hold on one sec. We can casino. Oops. I'm just going to restart it right here. We'll go straight to next game. And we move on to Saints Raiders, the 2-5 Las Vegas Raiders against the now 3-5 New Orleans Saints, 24-0. I think, we didn't have this for blowout of the week, right? But we thought this game would be a mess.
Yeah, we didn't really want to touch this.
I don't even know what there is to talk about this game. The Raiders are, I guess, as bad as their record is, 2-5. We thought they had more fight in them, but this is maybe the worst game I've seen Derek Carr play. He threw 15 for 26, 101 yards, INT. Devontae Adams had 1 catch for 3 yards. Mac Hollins, 7 receptions. Everybody else had, or I guess Foster Moreau had 6. Everybody else had like 2 receptions the game. Again, they only did 100 yards. Josh Jacobs, 10 for 43. The Saints defense is good. We've talked about that. Like the Saints have a sneaky good defense. I don't think a lot of people are talking about, but they're a top 5 defense in the league, or they were. Now they're top 10, but I don't know what to make of this Raiders team, Casino. Are they one of the worst teams in the league? I
think so. And I hope it keeps trending that way. I hope they lose their next 2 just because the Patriots play them in December, and I want tickets to go down.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. But on the Saints side, Andy Dalton, 22 for 30, 229, 2 touchdowns. But really, this was the Alvin Kamara game. He rushed for 62 yards on 18 attempts for a touchdown, but then he had 9 receptions, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Do you think there's rumors that Kamara was on the trade market before this game? Now, obviously, Saints win this big game mostly because of Kamara, and they're within, shockingly, at 3-5, within 1 game of the lead of the NFC South. Do you think Kamara gets traded before the trade deadline, or do you think this game and this performance basically put the kibosh on that?
If the deal's there, they're going to make it.
What do you think they would take?
I don't know which team. I don't know what the deal would be, but if there was a deal out there good enough, and obviously if it's good enough, any team would probably get rid of a player, but he had a good game. They still need to move some things around, and just because he had the one good game doesn't mean, and he's not a bad player. Let's get that, out.
Garbage
right now.
person, good player.
I didn't say anything about his person. We've talked about that before on this cast.
Yes.
That's a shout out to Brett Favre. He's gonna watch. He's gonna listen to this and watch this, so it's all good. He'll get it. If the deal's right, Kamara's gone. I still don't think they'll back down from it.
So apparently the rumors were that the Saints were interested in trading Kamara back to the Eagles in exchange for the Eagles trading back the Saints first round pick they traded away. But at this point, that pick is like a top 5-6 pick in next year's draft. So I don't think, especially when you see guys like who just got traded, you see all these big name players getting traded for like 3rd and 4th round picks. There's no way in hell Kamara, with all his off the field issues and all the hits he's taken in the league, is worth like a 1st round pick. So I don't think that happens. But I would say if that's what the Saints are like hoping for, that they can get a top 10 1st round pick, then I don't think he gets traded, just because I think the Saints are being unrealistic in what they're asking for him. I mean, we just saw what Christian McCaffrey got traded for. Christian McCaffrey's obviously like the comp to Alvin Kamara, and what he went for like a 3rd, 4th, and 2 5ths or something like that. It definitely wasn't anywhere in the 1st or 2nd round.
Right.
Let's move on to my game of the week, Casino. The still undefeated 7-0 Philadelphia Eagles win 35-13 against the 2-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. You have anything to say?
Don't pick your team for the win.
But maybe that's why they're winning. Who knows? Who knows? But you got anything to say about this game, Casino, before I give you my rant?
I love Brown. He's on my fantasy. He's awesome. He was almost 40 points.
Dude, almost 40 points at halftime.
Dude, I'm in a 12-man league. Yes, it's with an OP, so one extra offensive player, but that, not something too crazy. I put 210 points on in a 12-man league.
Oh, you showed me. Yeah, your guys went off. Even your kicker went off this week.
He had 21 points. It was fun. Brown's great. The connection that we've talked about, connections with quarterbacks like with Tua and Hill. I think Hurts and Brown, they have it, because I don't know about all 3, but I know for sure 2 of those throws were in double coverage, and he still pulled them out.
So obviously I watched this whole game with every snap, every play. I was thinking about it today. My wife asked me, I think since 2014, I have not missed one Eagles game. So I've watched them all. I obviously watched this one. Went to the Eagles bar with my wife. We won a hat. My son wore it to school today, or else I would have worn it on the podcast. But because they do a drawing at halftime. Blah,
so far, you've won a hat and a shot glass,
and shot glasses too. And last year I won a shirt and socks or whatever. And like, this bar is always packed. So, and we're always sitting in different spots. So just luck of the draw. The one game my wife didn't go with me, I just went by myself because I was already there and she was going to meet me, but we were fighting, so she didn't come. So I was like, fuck it, I'm still staying for the game. The seat she would have sat next to me in, they won the best prize this bar has ever given away at halftime, which was a Nick Foles Super Bowl jersey. Like, authentic jersey. I looked it up online. At the time, it was like $150. She would have won that jersey had she come to that game, but she didn't. And now I don't have a Nick Foles jersey. Casino.
And all that did was just make you fight more. So
yeah. And then it made me more angry. and then I married her and had a kid with her, and now look at me. I'm dressed up as Shaggy on a podcast. But so this game, I think the story of this game is how the hell did the Titans give away AJ Brown? Like, I can't. It's as monumental at this point as the Chiefs giving away Hill, and I feel like it got none of the same type of coverage because at this point, AJ Brown could make the case for best wide receiver in the league. Every single one of his touchdown passes was in double coverage, and
so it was all three.
I believe maybe one of them wasn't, but I know definitely two of them were. And the ball placement that Jalen Hurts now has, he put it to where only Brown could get it over two people. Brown gets on one of them, just burns like toast two cornerbacks, I believe a cornerback and a safety, and then taunts them while they're on the ground, like looking at each other, like, how the fuck did he catch that? Great penalty when you're up by 2 scores and then your team is still piling it on. But this is what I wanted to see from this Eagles team, which was a dominant win that they played all 4 quarters and the other team never started to come back or really never gained anything. Obviously, the Steelers offense is in flux, but we saw them beat the Bucks. Like, they have some fight in them. Kenny Pickett afterwards basically yelling at his offensive line in the press conference afterwards, which you love to see a rookie quarterback do. I'm sure that'll go over well. But yeah, just but I think the last takeaway I will say about this game, obviously I'm fangirling out here, is the crazy
but
thing.
It was a good offensive game by the Eagles. I mean, we should talk about them. They're the only undefeated team.
Well, also, and to piggyback on that, 0 rushing attempts in this game for Jalen Hurts. He stayed in the pocket through 19 of 28, 285, 4 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. Like,
right. And just to kind of touch on what you're saying here is, remember what I've talked about, why I've said the Eagles are the best team in the league. I still think the Bills will still win, but why they are the 7-0 that they are is they can beat you at every type of way to play the game. And as you said, he didn't run the football at all. And also something to know, not only did he throw into double coverage, is Jalen Hurts is throwing 40 yards away and putting it in the only spot his receivers. It's not like they're at the 10-yard line and he's like getting it and, whipping it in there and getting it right to where he needs to. Most quarterbacks can do that, but to be as accurate that many times in that type of coverage, at least 3 times now for that game was pretty impressive. They're scary because they just, every asset of the game, they can beat you many different ways. They didn't even have to run Jalen today. They didn't even have to play that type of offense, and they still won.
And every single one of those AJ Brown touchdown passes, 25 yards or more on every single one of those touchdown passes, exactly. Which when Jalen Hurts was coming into the league, he had basically the same comp as Tua, but like more concerns, right? So Tua, the thing with him coming out of Alabama was he's accurate, but he doesn't have an arm, right? And you even saw it in the game they played this week where Tua throws that bomb to Tyreek downhill. It's underthrown, and Tua literally looked like he put every ounce of strength he had into it, and it was still underthrown, right? And Jalen Hurts coming out of Alabama, then Oklahoma, had that same comp, which was we don't know if he has an NFL arm, and the accuracy is an issue. Well, this year, accuracy was also an issue last year. This year, this offseason, I don't know what happened to the guy. He just seems to have figured it out because now he is just throwing dimes all over the field, and it doesn't look like he struggles to throw the deep ball now. He just flicks his wrist and it goes 40 yards in the air. Like, I don't know what the hell happened to this guy or if he sold his soul to the devil or whatever, but he's playing out of his mind. We'll talk about this in the Bills game, but I think really there's only 2 quarterbacks in the league at the moment playing better than him. And it's who everybody thought would, which is Mahomes and Josh Allen. I think he's right there for MVP, right there for best quarterback. He's definitely best quarterback in the NFC. Like, just I'm just blown away, Casino. I was not expecting this. I thought this would still be a rebuilding year, but 7-0, and looking at their schedule, they can easily go 10, 11, maybe 12-0 before there's like a challenge. They play the Titans, Packers, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm also scared because I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. So nothing good ever happens except that like the 2 times it has in my lifetime. So, but now we move on to your team, Casino, the surging, except for last week, surging New England Patriots, 4-4, 22-17 over the stumbling 5-3 Jets. That motherfucker definitely looked like he was fucking his own team and not their moms, just the team itself, with 3 of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in a game. Thoughts on this game, Casino?
It's exactly how I thought it was going to play out. Belichick beat him. Like, this game wasn't good. Like, it was 22-17. That was the final with all the turnovers that the Jets had. Like, the Patriots aren't good. They're not that good of a team. But Belichick, I knew, was going to be able to win this game because that makes now 13 in a row that Belichick has beaten this team. It is what it is. Like, that's exactly how I'm not saying New England's good. I'm Mac Jones. I've kind of already talked about this. I'm pretty much done with him.
Whoa. Is it Zap time? Is it Zach attack?
For the time being, possibly. But what I don't like seeing in Mac Jones is, yes, I know our offensive line is bad. I know New England's offensive line is very trash. However, if you see that person come in, and sometimes it's not, sometimes it's blindside, but if you know you don't have the time anymore, get rid of the football. He took, I think it was 6 sacks in this game. Get rid of the football.
He kind of has that Carson Wentz energy where it's like, why are you holding onto the ball so long?
It's driving me absolutely bonkers. If your offensive line lets them through and you're beat. Throw the ball out of bounds to the nearest receiver so it's not intentional grounding. You don't lose 8 yards.
Yep. And that shit adds up too.
The Pats are still moving the ball pretty okay. But the issue is you're having to do these long downs.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I really don't have much more to put on this game. Jets defense, they looked pretty on par with how they've been all season. And then New England's defense just has his number, has Zach Wilson's number. Belichick has his number, and that was the game. That was the game.
I think most people, including us, saw this coming with the Jets, and we'll throw the Giants in there as well, where we didn't think they had the right kind of quarterbacks to. Oh, you're going outside? Okay. He's going outside with parental vision, not just by himself. But no, I think this was the week, and we thought it would take much sooner than this, but this was the week. It took to week 8 where we saw both New York teams kind of come crashing back down to reality. And it was exactly why everybody thought they would, which is their quarterbacks. There is nothing that Zach Wilson has shown that makes you think he can lead this team deep into a playoff run. I don't care how good the defense is. He just looks like he threw for 355 yards, which is a lot, but those 3 INTs were just backbreakers in this game. And they were also all easily avoidable interceptions. I think every single one of them was in triple coverage, or him throwing off his back foot, or him trying to just throw it to one guy who is 5 yards away from the ball, and there's 2 Patriot guys standing right there. And then we'll get to the Giants Seahawks game, but I don't know what to make of this Jets team, Casino. I don't know if you can win on defense, and especially they lost their star running back, and the running back they got back really didn't do anything today. He went 5 for 17 yards. So I don't know. As far as your Patriots, they're still alive in the AFC as a wild card, but I think
they're at the bottom tier. They can see the crack in the door, but they're not anywhere near the door.
but I would put them probably at the same chances as the Jets again, because Zach Wilson, he's this podcast's favorite quarterback for his off the field activities. For his on the field activities, I don't trust him at all. I just don't think he has it. I literally wrote in my notes. I just put Zach Wilson ain't it. That was the only note I had about Zach Wilson. And then those 3 INTs. Bleh, bleh. But both our teams, big wins this week, Casino. Big wins. Now we move to a game that can the NFL help this podcast out and not break news literally an hour after we recorded our last podcast when we talked about this game. Literally, as I'm uploading it, I see the breaking news banner on ESPN, which is Tannehill is out for this game. I'm talking about the Titans against the Texans. Titans won 17-10. They are now 5-2 against probably the worst team in the league, 5-1. But I will not say that they're the worst team in the league because they play my Eagles on Thursday, and I'm scared for this game. This seems like a trap game. But Casino, Tannehill is out of this game because of he missed a practice or something. Is he injured? I don't know. They said he missed a walkthrough or practice, and it sounded like he got benched for a disciplinary reason, but maybe there's more to this story. I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered because there was no passing in this game whatsoever. They gave it to Henry. It was Henry the target. 10 passing attempts the entire game. He was 6 for 10. Willis was 55 yards. But how in the hell they win this game? They won because Derrick Henry went 32 attempts for 219 yards and 2 TDs.
We literally, the crazy thing is we talked about this exact thing when we were talking about this game on our last podcast, where we were they're giving Derrick Henry the ball so much and it's taking him so much, so many more carry attempts to get to what he used to get to in half these attempts. But 32 carries, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's a dominating performance, but it's also how many running backs could also do this if you give them the ball almost 40 times? You get what I'm saying? It's just
people can't. He's built slightly different.
Slightly different. He's the size, dude. You could put us two together and he would still probably be bigger than us. And we're not small men. We're not small men, Casino.
Whoa. It's dad bod, buddy.
But again, this Titans team, how much can they just put on the weight of Derrick Henry to just be their entire offense before he just takes one too many hits and is I can't do it? Because, they've been running him into the ground for 4 or 5 years at this point. There's no running back in the league who takes the amount of carries and punishment that Henry does. He dishes it out as well, but he's also hitting people to dish it out. I don't know. Sooner or later, the wheels are going to fall off this bus, and the Titans are just going to be we have nothing else. We traded away our best wide receiver. We have Robert Woods, who hasn't really shown up for us, and then it's a bunch of who's stepping up this week. So I don't know, man. And then as far as the Texans, there's really nothing to talk about the Texans team. I don't think David Mills is the worst quarterback, but he's in a really bad situation where I don't think any quarterback could succeed. But only thing on the Texans that's the bright spot is their running back, Pierce. He just seems to, like David Mills, he's in a bad situation, but he seems like a good player. And maybe
on the right team. He didn't do anything today or the other day. It was yesterday. 15 attempts, 35 yards. Not good.
No.
But he's in a bad spot.
Yeah, I feel bad for everybody on that Texans team because, it's rough. Next, we move to the 5-3 Seattle Seahawks beating the 6-2 New York Giants 27-13.
As soon as I pick the Giants to win, as soon. as I picked the Giants to win.
As soon as we both were like, Giants are legit, they lose to a team that, I mean,
it's not bad.
Geno Smith renaissance is fun to watch. I think I was going to talk about this with the Bills. I'll talk about it right now. For my MVP casino, because obviously MVP always goes to a quarterback, right? I don't know why they still call it MVP like anybody else has a shot. But the 4 leaders in my eyes right now, Josh Allen has 19 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, so 21 touchdowns overall, 6 INTs. Okay, I think he's the clear front runner. Patrick Mahomes has 20 passing touchdowns, 5 INTs. I think he's obviously a close second. If they get the 1 seed, maybe Patrick Mahomes, that'll be enough to give them, the MVP or give him the MVP. Third, I got to go with my guy. I don't think it's hometown biased. He's the only one who has an undefeated team. Jalen Hurts has 10 passing touchdowns, 2 INTs, and 6 rushing touchdowns. So he's got 16 on the year, but only 2 INTs. Right there with them, Geno Smith, 13 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 3 INTs. So he's 14 touchdowns, 3 INTs on a Seattle team that everybody, including us, thought was tanking this year and just cleaning house. And also, I feel like we also thought that Drew Lock was going to be the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. And now it's a great story. Geno Smith. And in this game, they won because of Geno Smith. 23 for 34, 212, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I love Geno Smith. I love this story. They had that great shot of Tyler Lockett dropping the touchdown and then Geno Smith going over to him when he's sitting on the bench and just pulling his head in close and basically doing the leader pep talk thing. And then Tyler Lockett comes back on the field, catches a touchdown. It's a great story, Casino. I'm all in on Geno Smith. I wish they played in the AFC so I wouldn't have to root for my Eagles. Yeah. But anything to say on this game on the Seahawks end of things?
No, again, they're just we say it every week. Geno Smith is proving everybody wrong, and like he said in his first post-game interview, and he's sticking to it. I mean, they're 5-3. They're not bad.
No, and number 1 in the NFC West, which everybody coming into this season, us included, thought would be the best conference in the NFC, but they're higher than the 49ers, higher than the Rams,
Niners
higher
will
than
end
the
up winning
Cardinals.
this, though.
Who will?
The Niners will end up winning that division.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see the next Seahawks 49ers game. I feel like that'll be a good game. Also,
that's a good segue.
Last thing on this game, Kenneth Walker III, maybe now that Breece Hall for the Jets is out, maybe rookie of the year. He's having a great year. Giants, I think it came down to Daniel Jones finally turned into a pumpkin. He didn't really do anything in this game, only rushed for 20 yards. Their whole offense is Saquon Barkley, and he never got going against this Seahawks team that is the defense is a sieve. So, yeah, the key to stopping the Giants is stop Saquon and then be throw it to somebody. Who are you going to throw it to? And I don't think the Giants have any offensive weapons.
No.
Next up, as Casino incorrectly tried to segue at the inopportune moment.
Fine.
We'll go back. 49ers beat the Rams 31-14. I was a stupid asshole and picked the Rams to win this game, even though the 49ers have owned the Rams for the entire time Sean McVay has been the head coach of the Rams. Jimmy Garoppolo, 21 for 25, 235, 2 touchdowns. The San Francisco 49ers now 4-4 win 31-14 against the 3-4 Los Angeles Rams. But really, this is the story. We alluded to it earlier. This was the game of Christian McCaffrey, 18 carries, 94 yards, 1 touchdown. He threw a touchdown and then he caught a touchdown and had 8 receptions, 55 yards.
He had a touchdown every which way you could do it.
Yeah. If they would have put him out as a punt returner, kick returner, he probably would have had a touchdown there too, because the Rams had no answers how to stop this guy. Is this 49ers team the most dangerous team in the NFC, Casino?
In their division.
You still think the Eagles are more dangerous than the 49ers?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, snaps. My kid's taking the plug of my computer. It needs to be plugged in. It's an old laptop that pretty much, if it's not plugged in, it dies.
Okay. Well, if you disappeared, now we know what happens. But I think really the only question mark with the 49ers is twofold. Can Jimmy G be a primetime elite quarterback when he needs to be? Unclear. And second thing is, can the two main weapons of this 49ers team, which is Deebo Samuel and now Christian McCaffrey, can these two injury-prone game changers stay healthy? I don't think those are questions we can answer right now, but
no,
definitely.
But if he does stay healthy, I mean, McCaffrey 100% got rejuvenated when he was like, "Oh, I'm not on the Panthers anymore."
Yeah,
let's go.
And this San Francisco 49ers team feels way better than 4-4, but obviously they've been hit with.
Well, they're gonna go on a stretch here.
Yeah.
What's their upcoming schedule here? They got Charger. Oh, actually, they don't have
an easy schedule.
They're gonna have to do some work. I mean, well, they got a bye coming up. After this bye week, they'll have the Chargers, Cardinals, Saints, Dolphins, Bucks, Seahawks.
I mean, those aren't none of those are real gimmies. Those are,
and then to end the season, they have the Commanders, Raiders. So there's you have 2 wins at the end of the season. The rest are teams that you can't overlook.
Yeah. Well, and then also, we don't know, throw also George Kittle into the mix. He always seems to miss a couple games. So their main thing.
When they lost to the Bears and lost to the Broncos, I still think Falcons are a decent team. So let's just put them in there, though, too. The Bears, the Broncos, and the Falcons, you lose to those 2 teams. Ugh. I mean, there's 3 wins that you should have probably had.
And that's especially when you get to this portion of their schedule. Those are 3 wins you wish you had. So you had a little bit of a cushion. Now it's like they almost basically have to win go with those last 2. They basically have to win the next 5 or 6. Like that's a heavy order for any team, especially one that is so injury prone like the Niners. But let's go to the 4-4 Washington Commanders, who won 17-16 over the Sam Ehlinger. I think that's how you say it. Sam Ehlinger led Indianapolis Colts, who are 3-4-1. Ehlinger didn't play bad, 17 for 23, 201, but I think replacing my Zach Wilson love on this show, Tyler Heinicke, Casino. Hide your wives, hide your moms. It's Heinicke season. Crack open a cold one, Heinicke. I love this guy. Really feels like
way not to get sued there.
This guy really feels like this year's. Who was that guy for the 49ers that one year? Or not the 49ers, I'm sorry, the Vikings, where it was the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Remember, he did the miracle in Minneapolis thing. How the fuck am I forgetting that guy's name? On the Vikings. Case Keenum, thank you. He really feels like this season's Case Keenum, where he is just coming out of nowhere. Obviously, I don't think they'll have the success that Vikings team did, but the Commanders, slowly but surely, they've won their last 3. And he's basically the reason for it. This game comes down to, I had notes on the ending. This game basically comes down to, let me flip through my notes. Here it goes. Heinicke throws a dime to McLaurin. What's his name? McLaurin. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry, listeners or viewers. So he throws a dime to McLaurin on the goal line, and then quarterback sneaks it in. A fourth win of Tyler Heineke's, or no, I'm sorry, a fourth. A quarterback sneak in the fourth with like 17 seconds left to win the game. That was all Heinicke on that whole drive. I watched that last thing. Red Zone was obviously going crazy with this game because I think at this point it was like the last one on. But yeah, just I believe in Heinicke. I think they get, again, the Commanders are one of those teams I feel bad for, even though they're in my division, because if they were in the NFC South right now, they'd be in the mix, right? And they'd have a shot to maybe go to the playoffs, maybe be one of those fun underdog teams that can maybe upset somebody when they go have to play them when the other team's at home. But being in the NFC East, they're going to be the last team in this division. They probably don't deserve to be, especially with Heinicke in there. He looks better than Wentz has all season, but he's fun to watch. This Commanders team now all of a sudden has life. They've won 3 in a row. Maybe they can beat the Eagles, Cowboys, or Giants, but I don't think they can stack up enough wins to get into the playoffs. But hey, maybe we just talked about the Giants maybe faltering a little. Maybe they can take the last wild card spot in the NFC. But yeah, fun to watch. And I definitely think they're a more dangerous team with Heinicke than they were with Wentz. And I'm scared for my Eagles to play them. So as far as
I heard all of that. I agree.
I was just basically hyping up Heinicke the whole time. That's not even an exaggeration. If you listen back to this, I literally did the whole time. I just think Commanders, I said, I feel bad they're in the NFC East because I feel like if they were in the NFC South, they would still be in the mix of things, but maybe they can beat the Giants and take that last NFC wildcard spot. I don't know, Casino. Now let's move. Well, before we move on, you have anything for the Commanders or Colts?
Nope. I don't even know what you're talking about them.
I think Colts are done, right? 3-4, starting a rookie quarterback. Rookie didn't play bad, but I just think
they're not going anywhere from here.
No, even though that AFC South is wide open, kind of, but again, the Titans seem to be taking the reins on it.
Titans are going to take that over.
And Casino, you have some explaining to do about this game. The Buffalo Bills 6-1, winning 27-17 over the 3-5 Green Bay Packers. You said the Bills would blow this team out. It was a much closer game. Explain yourself.
Oh yeah. Well, you explained yourself. You also told the viewers that you would take that minus 10.5. You would have lost. You lose. Good day, sir.
Oh, but joke's on you. I lost way earlier in the day. So this game meant nothing.
No, it wasn't the best game for Allen. Simple as put. That's why I do agree with you, and not being biased because you're my friend, and but I think Jalen Hurts is the clear MVP currently right now in the league.
Whoa! I had him third.
Oh, I thought I have him towards the front. No, you think Josh Allen still?
Yeah. I just think, you look at the numbers, he has 21 touchdowns and only 6 INTs. Yeah. He got 2 in this game. Fair. So
fair enough. Sorry, I'm struggling here. Dogs, kids here.
We only got this in this game. This is the last one we're talking about. But
regardless, I thought it was going to be more of a blowout. I can't count how many games that you threw out there that this is their breakout game. This is the breakout game of plenty of other teams.
True.
I just thought this one was going to be more than it was, but still the W. And it didn't. I watched the highlights because I was actually at the Knights hockey game. But I watched the highlights on this, and it didn't look like much of a game.
No, it wasn't. And the Packers kind of got robbed, and it kind of I don't want to say stopped their momentum, but it stopped their momentum. Tunyon had this weird OPI where he has a cornerback basically all over him, and he kind of just pushes him away to get the guy away from him. And the guy trips, and then he catches a touchdown, and they call it OPI. It didn't look like OPI at all. It looked like hand fighting you see on every play between a receiver and defender. But the The Bills rushing attack kind of looked better this game. You had James Cook 5 for 35, Josh Allen, of course, 6 for 49, and then Devin Singletary 14 for 67. If the Bills,
it had to be a little better because Josh Allen receiving wasn't that much outside of a little bit to Diggs. That was not much.
Yeah. Again, I feel like everybody has just penciled the Bills in as the best team in the NFL, and they're going straight to the Super Bowl. I think even though they're winning, we're kind of starting to see a little cracks in their shield, which is their running game never looks as good as it does in the stat book, right? When you're watching the game, it just feels like if they have to rush for 5 yards, they get 3, unless it's Josh Allen. And again, like you said, it's Stephon Diggs, it's Gabe Davis, but Gabe Davis didn't really have a great game. He kind of disappeared in it, 2 for 35. So again, I just feel like if Josh Allen is off, this team could potentially get blown out. I mean, they have the best defense in the league, but it's really this team. I guess you could say this about most teams, but at least with other teams we've talked about, they can win in different ways, right? If the 49ers, if Jimmy G has a bad game, we can still now count on Debo, count on Christian McCaffrey. If Hurts has a bad game, we could still count on AJ Brown. We can still count on Miles Sanders and like that O-line. If the Bills, if Josh Allen has a bad game, who do they go to? What's their plan B? I feel like they're putting all their eggs in the Josh Allen basket. And I've never seen a quarterback have 17 great games in a row followed by 3 great playoff games. Like, that's a lot of, I don't know, man. It just feels like there's a lot riding on Josh Allen.
There is. Nothing else to say.
Yeah.
No.
But that was, and
Another
then as far as the Packers go, I think the Packers are done. I really do. I think
I want them to lose every game from here on out just because I'm tired of Rodgers blaming everybody.
Yeah, and Rodgers had a decent game. That INT he threw wasn't really his fault. It got tipped at the line. So Aaron Jones actually had a great game, 20 carries, 143 yards, and everybody, I don't think we were saying it, but I've heard it before where it was like, get the running game back on track and the Patriots will be back on track. Well, they had a great running game in this game and they still only put up 17 points. I mean, it's against the best team in the NFL, but still, like, I just don't see a path for this Packers team to get to the playoffs, have a winning record, make any noise whatsoever. But again, we're talking about them much like we talked about how Lakers, Cowboys, just because it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, but 3 games back of their own division, they're 3-5. I think it's time to put the nail in the coffin on Halloween for the Packers casino. That's all the games this week. We obviously have Bengals Browns tonight. We'll talk about on next episode, which we'll do on Thursday.
Well, let's just I mean, we could get into college football a little bit next one because I got to go here soon unless you want to do it yourself.
No, we can talk about that next episode.
But game 2, World Series. Houston again went out onto a quick, fast start, 5 runs again. And then this time the Phillies weren't just able to come back on this one, though.
There was that one, I believe it was the 7th or 8th inning. The bases had 2 runners on. Bryce Harper was up to bat, and they were out. It had 2 outs. If they, and I believe at that point, the Phillies, what was the final score you said?
5-2.
So I believe at this point they had 2 or they had 1. And the Astros had 5, and it was that moment. And it was like everybody in their head was like, this is why they got Bryce Harper, right? For this exact moment, everybody, I feel like, was either saying he's going to either hit a 3-run home run right here or he's going to strike out. And he struck out, and it broke my heart. I really thought they were going to do it 2 nights in a row. The series goes back to Philadelphia tonight, I believe. No, it's Tuesday, right?
Yeah. There is no game. There may be a game tonight. No, it is tonight, game 3.
But there's rumors. I don't know where I read this online that it might be postponed. I don't know why. I don't know what would be postponing it.
It's 2.5 hours away, and it's not showing on postpone on CBS Sports currently.
Okay. So Regardless, if it is postponed or not, we'll have 2 games between now and our next episode that we can talk about. Maybe one if it does get postponed. So we'll talk about that next. But Casino, with the way the Astros lose game 1, they win game 2.
Let's see. 20 minutes ago from, let's see. Yeah. As MLB and the teams meet to receive the latest weather update, they are putting 20 minutes ago, they did put the tarp over the field.
It's what, raining?
Yes.
So
there's a picture that looks pretty bad. So there's most likely a high chance that this thing is going to get at least delayed, if not moved.
All right. Well, we'll see by Thursday, but with the way the Astros lost game 1 and then rebounded in game 2, do you think this series is still the Astros to win or lose?
Oh yeah, 100%. This is, yes, Philly was able to get the 1, but I don't see Philly taking 2 at home. I really think that they're going to have to do something special here. They will probably, if they split here, that's good for them. Obviously better for Houston, but I think if they split is still a positive result for Philly because everybody thought this was going to be a sweep. So,
I mean, I think we called it on this podcast. We both thought it was going to be a sweep. So
if they could come out from home in the next 2 games and get a split, still being at home,
yeah,
I think that's a positive thing, and still you have some upside.
Well, you also, if you split games, you're going back to Houston where you've already proven you can win in that stadium.
I forgot. In baseball, it's 2-3-2.
2-3-2. Oh, so then Phillies would have to win. I mean, if they could even win 2 games at home, which is saying a lot because this Astros team is obviously loaded both in pitching and in hitting, but I don't know, man.
If they go back to Houston and they have 2 chances to win, if I was Astros, that would put a lot of pressure, and then they would have to step up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, any team, obviously, if you're in 2 elimination games compared to the other team only having to end up being in 1, so you win that first, that is still, hey, you're expected to win the World Series, and you have to win the next 2 games. Say Phillies come out to 2-1 on their homestand here. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Well, then it also becomes the pressure.
Baseball. Things happen.
Yeah. It also becomes the pressure of you're the favorites. You're not supposed to be in this situation. You basically had a cakewalk through the playoffs, and now all of a sudden you're going home in a deficit. And again, they already beat you game 1. They beat you in your stadium already. Maybe that just puts enough doubt in your head to where you're striking out when you would have got a single. Or, it's just, again, with all sports, it's the little things that added together, is the difference between winning and losing. So I'm not ready to give up on the Phillies, but man, that game 2, they had so many chances to do what they did in game 1 and game 2, and they just lost it every time. And it just has to be a little demoralizing on that end. But then again, you're going home for, like you said, the next 3 games, like anything can happen. You win the first one, then it's like, we're right on track. You win 1 more, and then it's like, we only have to beat this team 1 of the next 3 in a place we've already beat them at our home stadium. We beat them at theirs. I don't know. It's interesting, Casino. Maybe, but definitely it's not going to be a sweep like everyone thought it was. So do you want to talk NBA and NHL, or do you want to call it?
I have to call it.
All right. So we will cover, really only thing happened in NBA is Lakers finally won a game. Congrats to the Lakers. They're no longer winless.
And college football, pretty much every team won. There really was no upsets.
Except that Wake Forest game. At number 10, they got blown out in one of the worst games I've ever seen. So
there was a couple, but for the most part, the top seeds stay the same. All right. Well, this is Casino signing off because my kid is in my lap.
All right. We will see you guys on Thursday. Get us where you can in all podcast formats. I'll put the link to the podcast right in the description below. like, comment, do all the YouTube stuff, tell your friends. I'm Will, that's Casino, and we'll be back on Thursday. Go to the YouTube channel to just see this show broken up into clips on Tuesday and Wednesdays. So happy Halloween. I'm Shaggy. Casino is stay-at-home dad wearing a beanie. That is his costume this year. So yeah, adios, man.
Bye.